Live. We're live. I
Who
guess
said wait?
let's make sure it's actually working. What's up, everybody? Oh, yep, we're live on YouTube, and we're going live on Instagram right now, and we're live. All right. Well, hey, welcome to another episode of Sawdust Talk, everybody's favorite Wednesday night entertainment, or at least the only entertainment on at 9 Central every single Wednesday. I am Braden with Little Bug Woodworking. I do a little bit of everything: CNC work, flat work, woodwork. I'm doing a lot of 3D printing, so whatever will sell, I'll do it. Jesse.
I'm Jessie of Building Jessie, and I am a avid DIYer. I too play with lasers and CNCs, more so on the laser side lately, doing some tumblers and a little custom stuff for some businesses. So, TJ?
Right. I'm TJ with TJT Workshop over in St. Louis. Most of the woodworking I do happens on a lathe, like this guy right here. But I do some flat work. I do some 3D printing. I'm pretty happy with how I do with a welder. So we have some fun with that every once and again. And lately we're playing with big chainsaws and milling trees. So yeah, I'm excited to hang out with Joe and talk about how his shop actually doesn't have studio lighting in it. It's just everything he does is dramatically side lit.
Before we introduce Joe, our guest, we want to thank our sponsors, George Supply Company, and my new camera is too tight, and Surf Prep. We love what they do. Surfing or sanding still sucks, but with Surf Prep, it sucks less. So make sure you check out them for all of your sanding needs, and George Supply Co., where you can get Sawdust Talk swag, like shirts. I'm not wearing one, but you can get shirts with stuff on it. So check them out. Joe, we've got your name. Who the heck are you, man? What's up?
Who am I? So Joe, I am in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, more specifically Nazareth. I just have a major attraction towards cutting boards and charcuterie boards, and kind of gravitated to that. Just recently about a year ago, got a laser engraver and just dove into that pretty deeply, and just seeing where it takes me pretty much.
Joe, how did you end up on Sawdust Talk?
Well, Jessie, who is extremely supportive and a very friendly, nice person, asked if I wanted to be a part of this, and I jumped at the opportunity. I hate talking about myself, but I love getting to meet new people. So I thought that this was an awesome opportunity to get to meet other makers and like-minded people.
I mean, it is where all the cool kids are hanging out. And I mean, anybody who's a friend of Jessie is immediately a friend of mine. So,
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, she's some of the best people. So by affiliation, you're in good company.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's good company to be in. Absolutely. So I'm glad to be here.
Listen, I think you're fine. We'll see by the end of this hour if you're great, but for now you're fine.
All right, awesome. I can deal with that.
So I wanted to jump right into it. How did you get into woodworking? How did you find your niche? How did you kind of stumble along the path that got you to here right now?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was really all by chance. I feel like a lot of people might have a similar story to this, but so I was on like a 3-month kind of hiatus from work during COVID. My son, who was 10 at the time, couldn't go to school, so I couldn't go to work, and I just needed something to do. So I've told the story a few times on my Instagram, but I woke up one morning and I was like, I had just bought my house, and I'm like, I need a coffee table. I don't have a coffee table, and I want to try to make one. So I went on Facebook Marketplace. I had no tools. I think I had some like really I had like a Black & Decker drill from like 9 years ago that I mean, it was just terrible. I had nothing. I went on Facebook Marketplace. I found an ad for a guy selling it was like an 18-year-old like Craftsman radial arm saw. I mean, the thing was it was so dangerous. And I drove out to the middle of Jersey to pick it up. On the way home, I got some pallets and I just started cutting things and drilling them together. And I made the absolute like worst looking coffee table you would ever see in your entire life. But I made it and I put it in my living room and I loved it because I made it and it was awesome. And I even like sent pictures to my family and they were so supportive. They're like, oh, it looks great. Meanwhile, they're like, oh my God, like they tell me now it was the ugliest thing that they've ever seen, but they didn't want to like, they didn't want to discourage me. And then I was like, well, hey man, listen, I have some extra wood. Let me try to make some other stuff. And I made another coffee table and it was significantly better. And I actually still have it. And I posted that on Facebook and one person was like, hey, are you selling that? And then it just clicked and I'm like, man, I could make things and I can sell them. Like I can do that, right? Like I'm allowed to. And then basically anything that I started seeing online, I just saw pictures of it and I was like, I want to make that. And then I would make it. And then I would usually make like 2 of them. I would sell one and I would keep one. And then I would keep some money and buy another tool. And that just built and grew and grew and grew. I mean, I didn't even know that there was like different types of wood. I thought that there was a pine and oak. That's it. I didn't know anything else. Like I didn't know, so I knew nothing. I mean, I knew absolutely nothing. And I remember I went to some mill around my house and I got my first piece of black walnut. And I mean, I was handling it like it was like gold. I mean, I didn't, it was like the most precious thing I've ever seen in my life. And it was super expensive. And I made a charcuterie board out of it. And I was like, man, like I really enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed kind of being able to just like design my own thing and create it. And that just kind of stuck with me more than making like farmhouse furniture. Like that was fun and all, and that sold really easily, but I really, really gravitated towards making charcuterie boards. And then it went into cutting boards, and then it went into end grain cutting boards. And then, it just kind of grew from there. And I kind of moved with, I don't want to say move with the market, but I kind of moved with what was selling, but also kind of stayed true to what I wanted to do too. That's kind of why I got the laser engravers, because I kind of saw the writing on the walls that people were really enjoying personalized things. And at the time I was subletting that out to another guy who had a laser engraver. And I was just like, man, like I could learn how to do this and I can just do it. Like, and I just hit YouTube and I hit whatever literature was out there and I just learned how to do it. I bought a laser engraver. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And I bought a laser engraver, and I mean, I almost like lit a fire in my living room the first night, but I was just so determined to learn how to do it. And I mean, that really helped things take off. Yeah. So things just kind of evolved and I kind of went with it and I was okay with that. It was a new journey. There was no blueprint to any of it. So I was just kind of seeing where it took me and just accepting everything that, was kind of being put in front of me.
So other than your Facebook ads for your duplicate items, do you employ any other methods of prospecting new clients or finding commission work, or does the internet just bestow upon you a constant stream of people who want your goods?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I hate to keep saying this, but I made a post about it. But so one of the things that really helped was I'm a member of like a few local chatter groups on Facebook. So like a lot of what I do, like I said, is cutting boards and charcuterie boards, right? So I got into a local chatter group, which is just food related. It's called Lehigh Valley Food Group or Lehigh Valley Food Page, whatever. And periodically I'll just kind of pop in and say, hey guys, like I'm a local woodworker. Look at the stuff I make. Isn't this awesome? Like if you ever want anything, please let me know. But that's it. Like I do no formal advertising. I go on Facebook and advertise just on my personal page, not really as much anymore, but on my business page, Instagram, and the chatter groups. And at this point, like I'm like 3 years into it. So word of mouth has traveled enough where I'm staying busy enough all year round. So aside from that, like I said, I don't do any paid advertising. I do nothing like that. And I'm blessed that the area where I live, there's a very good, there's a large population of people that are very supportive of small business. So I've kind of lucked out in that way.
Can I tell a story about you?
Sure.
Okay. Well, about, what was it, 2 years ago? Where you were at 2 years ago. And Joe and I had this conversation about how discouraged he was because he could not make these connections, like exactly what he's talking about now. But it's been really, really cool to like watch the last couple years in your journey of like not only like your skills getting so much better, but your photography and your film work and stuff too is so like everybody that talks about your page talks about how, like your photography and how beautiful it is. So, but it is cool because that word of mouth is really all you needed, and it just continues to expand from there. So it's cool to hear you talk with a different level of excitement about where you're at.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate that people are like recognizing the effort, because there's, oh my God, there's a ton of it. I put in a lot of work into this, and I just, it's like my baby, you know what I mean? So I want to watch it grow. It was pretty discouraging because there was just as much passion back then as there is now, but I wasn't getting anything out of it. I couldn't give things away back then. And I didn't understand because I wanted people to share that, like customers and woodworkers alike. I wanted them to share that passion with me. And they weren't yet because I had to put in my time, so to speak. Like I had to put in the work, I had to put in the groundwork, and I had to put in my time. And to see, kind of the fruits of the labor starting to manifest is awesome, because it's endless. I mean, as you guys know, it's just endless amounts of work. If you're starting out at ground zero, nothing is given to you. I mean, you have to love what you're doing to make this a thing. And if you don't, it's just going to be terrible. It's just not going to work, and you're going to fall flat on your face. So yeah, a couple confidence boosters. I remember the first live event I did with you and Kenny and Elena. I mean, I was so green. Like I didn't, I knew nothing. I mean, I was just a puppy. And granted, I'm not a professional by any manner, but yeah, like looking back, all the advice that was given, I took and ran with it as much as I could to make this thing work.
I think it's cool too. Sorry, go ahead, Braden.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, it's pretty obvious that looking at your page, your path followed, like you said, the story that a lot of woodworkers or a lot of makers that come through our show kind of followed. COVID happened, you became a maker, and like everybody starts with cutting boards and charcuterie boards, but it's like you hit that and you fell in love with it, and you're just like, I'm going to make and photograph just the ever-loving shit out of these, and just blew that up. And your photography and the style that you have is fantastic. Would you say that, you talk about having kind of some struggles when you started out getting people as passionate and as interested in purchasing your stuff as you were? Would you say that all changed when you got your first ring light? Is that the secret to selling stuff, is getting a good ring light?
I don't have a good ring light. The lighting that I use, and people are shocked by this, is a $15 light I got at Target. Would I say that having good images aids you in sales and promotion? I would, but like only to a certain degree. Like I don't honestly think that taking good photo, like, okay, you can take a great picture of a crappy looking cutting board. It's not going to make you popular. You know what I mean? Like, so there has to be substance there aside from just your imagery. You can only fake it so much. And in this industry, you can't really fake it. Like you're going to get called out. People are going to see it because there's real makers here. You know what I mean? Like so I definitely think that, yeah, like being able to stage photos and take photos definitely helped. But again, like prior to this, I didn't, like, yeah, I did photography, but that wasn't a main profession. Like I did it on the side and I took pictures of people. Like I didn't take pictures of things, you know what I mean? So even that I had to grow into. I learned I had to kind of navigate to what people liked and, what was working at the time. So it definitely helps. But I mean, listen, some of the biggest accounts on Instagram use a cell phone. They don't use a DSLR. They don't have fancy equipment. So I think it helps, but I don't think that it's the key to success.
I think another big thing for you too was like getting on the other side of that camera though too.
Oh my
Because
God.
when I first met you, I was like, who are you? Like, you're not on your page. You don't do stories. You don't
Yeah.
talk. So I think that's really huge for anybody, and doing stuff like this and letting people get to know you a little bit, which I think you've done a really good job with the last couple of years of, telling stories and getting involved with the community. And I do think we should have him talk about the St. Jude.
Yeah, that was Oh, sorry.
No, will you talk about it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So every year, this was just the third year that we did it. My son now, who's 13, when he was 10, he wanted to make like his own thing. He didn't know what he wanted to do, so he wanted to make his own thing. And I was like, okay, well, like I'm not going to have him build like a coffee table. So I'm like, why don't you make like a charcuterie board? He's like, yeah, that's really cool. And he's like, oh, maybe I can make it and sell it. I'm like, yeah, you can do that if you want to do it. And then he's like, oh, maybe I can make it and sell it, but then I can take all the money and I can donate it. And I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. So then he had thought of the idea of like kind of helping kids or whatever. And I was like, well, how about St. Jude? And I kind of explained what they do. And he's like, yeah, that's a great idea. So long story short, like our first year doing this, I mean, I really didn't know anyone. I really didn't have that much of an outreach. I think maybe I had my follower count was like 500 at the time, which is fine. I mean, that's a lot. Listen, like they say, if 500 people came into your shop and wanted to buy something, we'd be floored, right? So like, you can't shake a stick at that. And that definitely got me connected with a lot more people in the community because of the great things that he wanted to do. So this is our third year now, and we've raised, I think, almost, my numbers might be wrong, but I think we've raised almost $4,000 to donate over to St. Jude. And each year it's like a 2-week thing, man. It's huge. Like we love it. We have so much fun, and everyone in my direct community locally too, like they come together for it. And it's such a uplifting event, and it gets me to meet so many people and hear so many great stories, and and it's just a chance to like give back, and that's what we love. And it also gets my kid in the shop too, and it gets him to do things hands-on and out of the computer room, so to speak. So that has been such a blessing, even to have a platform to do that, and to have like the ability to go in my garage, make something, or have my son make something. I mean, raffle it off or auction it off and take all that money and give it to help other people. I mean, like what greater thing could you do in life besides that?
I feel like if we connect you with Mike Suter from Makers for St. Jude, we might have like a superpower.
Oh, I know Mike. Yeah, me and Mike. That's actually how I met Mike. He shared his story with me when I think it was last year, if not the year before. So yeah, I know him pretty well. We chat pretty often. I mean, his story is amazing too, and what he does is just absolutely I mean, the amount of money that he's raised is out of this world. I think he's close to 10,000 for the year.
He's
year.
He's $500 short of his $10,000 goal. He texted me right before we started. He's like, "Hey man, I need your help. We need to push it. It's the last month for like the Makers Challenge." So this is the plug, Mike, if you're listening, and all the viewers. This is the last month for the Makers Challenge at Makers for St. Jude's. There's a bunch of prizes. You can go win them. Go look it up. And then also, obviously, Joe's plug into St. Jude's as well. We can cure it all. We can just end it. This is how we're going to do it. So, sorry.
That's so cool.
I had to do the plug thing, but no, that's an awesome story.
Yeah, that's a great thing to plug. Mike's a great guy.
It's been fun watching Vincent like grow too. He's like kind of at that age where, I mean, I'm sure people feel like this about my kids too, especially my daughter, because she helps me in the shop, but you kind of like watch people's kids like grow up. So it's been fun the last 2 years to watch him like, you know, do a little bit more and get a little more explorative and like in the shop and stuff. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been nice. You know, every year I've kind of stepped back a few more feet, so to speak, to kind of watch him do his thing. But this year, I mean, he was really, I mean, I was just like basically this the whole time. Like, yeah, listen, just watch your hands and be good. Be cautious of this, be cautious of that. Obviously, I'm right next to the power off button, but, you know, like, you know, but yeah, especially from like 10 to 13, I mean, he went from being like, you know, like this high to this high, you know, so yeah, and looking back on pictures, like like looking at like a 10-year-old who started this, who just has like the baby cheeks and everything, and now he's like super cool with his hair, and you know, you know, like because now he's a teenager. But yeah, it's been such a great experience, and very blessed again to have the ability to do it and the platform to raise that money. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've been trying to convince my toddlers to come outside and wear their ear pro and watch me play with chainsaws when I'm making bulb links in the driveway. And the younger of the two, the 2-year-old, is really into chainsaws right now, which is pretty funny because like every once in a while I'll be doing reels or we'll be hanging out or something and a chainsaw will come on and he'll hear it from across the room and he comes running over and it's like the cutest thing ever. I love seeing little kids get stoked about doing stuff instead of just like drooling over Bluey episodes. I think it's really cool.
It is cool. Yeah. I mean, you don't want this to be like a lost art, you know, like you don't want like, you know, we don't want this to go away and vanish into nothing. So it's, you know, and it's great too to see things that you love, to see your children also maybe take a passion in that as well. Like what greater compliment. You want them to live their own life and love their own things, but if they can love and appreciate things that, you know, that kind of complete you too, like, I mean, that just brings things around full circle. Yeah, totally.
So have you done the raffle for this year or is that coming up?
No, I do it every year I do it when I get back from vacation. So like late June, early July. So it won't be now until next year. Got it.
I don't know why I just think of like this time, this is St. Jude's time, but that's what's locked in my head. So
yeah, I didn't realize that September, was it September, I think, or October is like a big month for St. Jude. I think I just realized that. But I mean, we'll continue to do it. The time frame works because it's all, you know, he's involved in sports too. So it works in the middle, like after school, before sports, and where he has free time. So it's just kind of worked out because we want time to invest. You know, we're out there in the shop every night for, you know, close to 2 hours. So I also need time to film him, to advertise it, to get people to donate too. So I want to make sure that we have adequate time to do that, you know, and I don't want to stress him out. He's got things going on in his life too. So.
Yeah. He's got his whole life to be stressed out. You know, once you hit like that adult age, it's just stress always. So
yeah,
why hurry that up?
Why do it now? Exactly.
So I was looking up, go ahead, TJ.
Oh, I was just going to remark on sort of a fleeting thought, if you will. You mentioned like making sure that you get the camera out and that you are filming for promotion. Can you, in your mind, maybe imagine what the tipping point was for you that made you consistently conscious to like create those videos or to create those images instead of just finishing your project and creating something that looks like you could post it on a website? Maybe more specifically, when do you think you had your big push for, hey, I should be making a lot of content instead of a little content?
I don't think it was so much for making content as it was that I just have like a need to create like art, if that makes any sense. Like I love writing. I don't do it because, you know, like I like if people like it, it's a bonus. You know what I mean? But like I do it because I love doing it. So I think and I didn't prior to this, like I didn't take any like video classes or anything like that. Like I didn't know how to take video on a camera. I had no idea. I knew how to take photos, but that's about it. But I think I just had an urge to want to take pictures so much and to want to create things and edit them and then post them just for the sake of doing it, like the whole process of doing it, because I love that process. And I think, again, people liking it and enjoying it and it actually going somewhere is just a bonus, because it, like, I love doing it. It doesn't feel like work to me, you know? So, I mean, some of these things, like some of the posts that I've made prior to the last 3 weeks, like some of the videos that I've made, I mean, between shooting it, editing it in post process, and then choosing the right music, and like some of them take like 3.5 hours to like create. And that's no joke. And I'll get 50 likes on it, and that's a lot. But when you think about how long it takes you to make that versus how much you're, you know, getting recognized for it, you know, is the pain worth the pleasure? So again, if you're not loving it, you're not going to do it. You know what I mean? I love doing it. That's kind of the drive to it. So yeah, it does take a longer time, but you know, for me, like I love being able to post things, and I do love the comments when people are like, hey, this is amazing. Like, we appreciate it. Like, I see what you're doing, and this is art in its own way. And I think the main drive really is like, I want people to see kind of the world through my eyes and see the shop, because like what we do, I mean, like, look at the bowl behind you. You know what I mean? Like, no one can walk off the street and do that. They can't. Like, you have to have it starts in here and it has to come out through your hands. So if you can make someone see that, if you can make someone kind of relive that through photography or through videography, and be like, okay, like, I get it, man. Like, this is beautiful stuff, and I see it now. Like, that's, you know, that's amazing to me. So that was kind of like the driving motivation, is that I wanted people to kind of see woodworking as the art form that it was, because it is art.
Okay, but we need you to like not make everybody else look bad.
Yeah, I don't need him to make me look bad. I already know that my videos are bad. So like,
no, stop.
No, it's just Chainsaws and Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, like, it's, you know, peanut butter and jelly over here. I'm telling you.
I'm like time lapse, cut, chop, dun, post.
Yeah.
Joe's over here like, oh.
And I do it in one, man. And I'm lucky if I turn the thing on. I play whatever song was playing on the stereo at the time that I was grooving out and move on.
Yeah.
And that's good too. And there's beauty in that, you know, in that simplicity. You know what I mean? Like, not everything has to be, you know, edited and complicated, you know, but it's just, it's there for me. It, you know, I'm an anxious person at heart. So when I'm doing things and when I'm creating and when I'm shooting video and when I'm editing, you know, all of that just goes away. It goes out the window, you know, and that's a healing process in itself too. So it's, I mean, it's a win-win-win, you know, like, I love making it, people love seeing it, and it makes me feel good. So, you know, why not do it, you know?
Are there multiple takes for Yunes? Do you guys
For
do?
me?
Yeah,
For me?
do you guys do multiple takes? Like, it's really hard to put these back where they were when I was making them, right? Like, you can get in there and you can like try, but that's like,
I would say that I mean, there's some things, obviously, like you're saying, you can't have a double take on it, but I would say if and when I have a final product, I might do a couple sweeps across the table to try and get
that's all good.
That's the
But
beauty of like running the CNC and running the laser is like it's doing it for a bit. Like if you missed it on this pass, you're gonna get one more.
yeah.
So but no, I mean, Joe, what I also kind of want to know is, I mean, clearly your content is sensual. When did you realize that rubbing oils in great lighting that's just what the people want? Like, you get one shot at that. You can't unoil a board.
You can't, man. You're right. And I was joking around about this with someone today. Like, how long does it take you to oil a cutting board, right? In reality, 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I am okay. So like, this is my process in a nutshell with the oiling videos. I go in the basement. I clear. That already sounds like erotic. I go in the basement. Yeah,
Dude,
He goes
this
in
is
his
Sawdust talk after dark, buddy.
yeah.
Tell us
He
more
goes-
about how you oil your wood.
I get on my leather chaps. No, I go in the basement. I cancel out all the light. Again, it sounds erotic, but I close out the windows. So the only light that I want is the light that I'm supplying from my ring light. It took me the last cutting board oiling video. It took me 2 hours to cancel out the light, get the lighting right, set the camera up on the angle, think about the angles that I wanted it to shoot, oil the top of the board. Luckily, it didn't have a juice groove, so you couldn't tell if it was the top or the bottom. So even though it was multiple takes, it looked like it was one shot of the top of the board, but it was really top and bottom, so that worked to my benefit. And then, you know, like the viewer, like our mind is only good for what, like 10 seconds before we get bored. So I need to keep switching angles to make sure that when I make a video, it has different angles to create to keep people wanting to watch it. So yeah, at the end of the day, like I was downstairs in the basement, and my favorite tagline, especially with my girlfriend, is like, "Hey, listen, I'll be right upstairs. I'm going to be upstairs, and like I'm going to be down there for like 10 minutes." And then 2 hours later, I'm like crawling out of the basement like Beowulf. You know what I mean? Like just some like thing that came out of the swamp. Like, okay, I just got done oiling a cutting board for 2 hours. You know what I mean? But we've just accepted it as reality now. But yeah, so I forgot the original question, but yeah, that's it's definitely a process. Yeah,
I got lost in the fantasy of a well-constructed charcuterie board, side lit by candles, you having cracked a book of poems or thoughtful quotes while wearing leather. Good gracious, Joe, this is getting hot.
I mean, isn't that how everybody thinks though? Like, I mean, like if you guys listen to music, this is a serious question. If you guys hear a song, like, I mean, like a good song, like a deep song, one that really pulls like emotion out of you. I mean, remember when you were a kid and you'd like look out the window of the car and you'd like pretend you were in like the music video with like the song? I mean, has anyone experienced that before? Because that's how I see things. And that's a lot of how I shoot the video is I'll hear a song or I'll see something on Instagram, like a quick reel or like music. And I'll be like, oh shit, like this would look perfect if I oiled the board in this light, in this way, in this manner. And then that's how it kind of emerges. Like, I mean, like, do you guys share that? Do you guys see that too? Or am I just
not the way that you do? I don't think so.
no?
Not that way.
My kids are both under the age of 5. I have 7 minutes per reel to go from shoot to publish.
I feel you, man.
So Joe is taking the time to set up the ambiance, get the music. He's like rubbing the oil in. TJ, he's running in. He's got the mustard bottle of oil in. He's just like throwing it at the board, runs out the door. He's done.
Yeah, like if I get gloves on while applying oil to any surface, that's a really good day.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
I was just gonna say I did notice that you glove up when you oil. I'm like, shit, that's a really good idea. I should start wearing gloves when I'm oiling stuff.
Yeah, no, if I have a chance to put gloves on while I'm doing CA glue, I'm like really thinking clear that day.
Yeah. Non-latex for the allergies, powder-free. Thank you. So, and I was gonna get black gloves, but those were just way too sexual. So I don't do the black gloves.
You're not gonna do like the latex like doctors time to oil this hardwood.
No.
You're already
And
getting
then
him thinking
Careless
again,
Whisper
Braden.
starts playing, and the saxy sax man is watching you oil things up. But I'm telling you,
I have to. I have a kid who's about to enter high school, so I don't want him to be the laughing stock of the school. I got to be cautious with what his dad posts. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Do his friends follow you?
No, but how do I say this tactfully? His friends' moms do.
hubba.
They're
here for the oil videos, huh?
No. It's his friends and their parents are very supportive as well. Yeah, they're good people. But no, his friends don't, and he doesn't have Instagram, so I'm that dad. He doesn't have social media.
I'm telling you, you could break the internet. You'd probably sell 1,000 boards if you oil one shirtless, just one time.
No, man. Listen, I'm turning 38 in a few days. I full blown dad bod. That's not going to happen. I'm solid from like the ankle to the hip. You know what I mean? But like once you get above the hips, it's blown dad bod.
Yeah, that's why I'm cropped from the chin up over here, bud. Like I'm sitting on a 5-gallon bucket on purpose.
Hey, you spent a couple minutes talking about framing and stuff. All you gotta do is oil it with your calf, and I'm telling you.
Hey. There you go. Nothing says romance like a hairy man leg and some walrus oil.
Joe's like, I thought this was about woodworking. We're talking about oiling for like sexy cutting board oiling for like 5 minutes. They will not get off the topic.
This is not what I was expecting, guys. No, this is it's all good. Maybe I'll send a calf video sometime next month. We'll see. Maybe around the holidays,
When we see it,
get your greeting card, and who knows, we can finally get the Surf Prep to start throwing money at that calendar.
Yeah, right. We've already got Dylan in on a calendar, so I think you just pick a month. December is taken and July is taken. You just pick a month. Surf Prep's paying for a calendar.
Oh wait, time out. Hold on. Are you guys has Nate talked to you at all, Logston?
Nathan?
Yes.
No.
I don't. I want to know what's happening. So.
Oh, we're going to need an introduction to Nate Logston.
Well, because we might. Okay. Well, we'll talk off the air more about the whole calendar thing, but I might have to bring you guys in on this because the wheels have been spinning on that with him and I for close to a year now. So they would. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are about that, but that might be something that we could all get in on together.
Oh yeah! I finally get to put on my tactical turtleneck and my TikTok leggings, buddy. It's gonna get hot.
Is Nathan back yet?
No, he's still. I call it on vacation.
That's what his wife calls it too.
Yeah, he's very much not on vacation, but no, he's not back.
Oh, he's in Poland.
He's somewhere, and in an undisclosed location.
Yeah, he's in Poland.
Yeah.
The comments on Instagram are just exactly what you would expect to be. Never be lonely at Woodworkers Only. Let's see. OJ did black gloves. Look how that turned out. Oh God. Okay. Let's see. Definitely not a PG show tonight. Feels like a solid February entry. Oily Woodworker Men calendar. Hot.
It's gonna just be like greasy beards and flannel, which it's nice for the winter months, I suppose. But like summer's gonna roll around. And,
Anyway, Joe, where did the name Two Pines Carpentry come from? And is it in any way connected to Back to the Future?
No, it's not. So Jesse knows the answer to this question, but I'll obviously explain it. So without getting too poetic here, Two Pines is me and my son. We are the Two Pines. We're the two trees standing alone. Specifically, one of them, the smaller one, it looks like the larger one, but it's different in its own way. right? We're kind of holding each other up, so to speak. If you look, they look a little kind of beaten and battered because life's not necessarily easy and fair. But that's who it is. It's us.
That's really sweet, man. I like that a lot.
I love it, and it feels weird going from oiling up men to going into that heartthrob story.
Yeah.
But I'm a sucker for a woodworking business named after a kiddo, because Little Bug is my daughter. So
there you go. So you know it. Yeah, but that's where it is. And once I thought of the name, I stumbled on a couple things, and I was like, you know what, like this makes perfect sense, and everything was built around that. So that's the motivation.
Do you use pine when you build anything?
Not anymore. But that's okay. Originally, actually, the original name was Pennsylvania Live Edge. But ironically, in the very beginning, I wasn't using any live edge material. I'm like, this is so stupid. I don't use live edge. And so again, in the beginning, I was using strictly pine. I was building farmhouse furniture. But the name meant more than the product that I was using. So again, it just makes sense. And I'm not even, and I kind of feel bad, I'm not doing like carpentry, you know what I mean? But again, it's just, it is what it is. There's no changing it. It's who I am. It's who we are. So that's what you get. That's what you get, people.
What if you just drop carpentry? You could just be Two Pines.
I thought about that, but then I'm like, man, like all the hats are just going to be wrong. All the laser engravings I've done with my name are all going to be wrong. Like everything, all the business cards I got to get remade. And it's not that big of a deal, right? But I guess they could do that. I don't know.
Well, that, and you start to get awful close to Two Chains, and it's weird crossover, and then you get legal involved.
To who? To Two Chains?
Two Chains.
With a Z? 2 Chains?
Yeah, we do similar work, so I can see how people would get confused.
Listen, at its base level, you both do art.
Yeah, you're right, man. In its simplest form. Yeah, we entertain.
I don't know where to go from there. I Two Chains is the end of my road on these questions, so that's all I had.
All right, you did good.
I do think we get a little bit less questions when we are in this format.
What about 2.5 Pines? What about the dog?
The dog needs to start pulling his weight around here. So, man, let me tell you.
So I was watching a bunch of your reels today, and one of them jumped out at me, and it seems like it was your last one that's not pinned. You're seeing major growth on Instagram in the last 3 weeks. You're doing some stuff. What are you doing? What does that look like in terms of growth? What is kind of your growth goal on social media?
I don't have a goal. Yeah, I don't like say, hey, I want to be 100,000 followers. It's just, I'm just kind of taking it as it comes. And everything's relative. So what might be a lot of growth for me, isn't, like Jessie, for instance, you blew up the internet when when your growth numbers started going up, so major growth for me, I think in the last 3.5 weeks was 300 followers. That was unreal for me. I'm like, why are people liking my stuff? Why are they following me? What am I doing right? I don't understand. Why is this happening in a good way? So yeah, I don't know that I necessarily have a goal. I think that ultimately my goal is to build all of this, whether it be social media and on and off social media, build this, maybe this is a pipe dream, but build it into something that I can create to be a full-time thing. I'm approaching 40, and I'm kind of seeing life a little differently in the way that, there you go.
Freaking dog's trying
We
to
were
pull his
talking about
weight.
it.
Yeah.
You Beetlejuiced your dog into this video. That's amazing.
Dude, he is the biggest 14-pound dog you've ever seen in your life. He is just, I've never had anything else control my life with three-inch legs before, and he is it. So yeah, so growth, I don't have a goal. I want this to be something that I could build a future off of and do this full time in some way, not necessarily on Instagram, but on and off as well.
So what are you doing that's creating the growth though? Because I do need the followers. I thrive on the love of random strangers on the internet. So I need to know what to do.
So like the three things that I've done differently is I've posted later in the day. I used to post around like 9 or 10 a.m. just for whatever reason. I don't know. I was like so anxious because I had been making a video all night. So I was so anxious to like post it. So like I wanted to do it like early in the morning, make everyone see it and let them love it. But then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like people in like, you know, in California and all these different time zones, like if you're posting at 9 a.m., they're asleep. They're not seeing any of this. So I'm like, okay, maybe let me try to post later in the day and at the same time. Maybe there's a trick to that. So that was one thing I started doing, is posting later in the day. The second thing was, so there's like a lot of people that'll tell you about like what songs to choose. And what I've learned is whatever song that you're going to choose, it'll always, like when you click on the song, it always has in like the bottom corner, it'll say like original and then the number of plays that it has. That number should be as high as possible, but that has to coincide with how many uses it has. The uses has to be as low as possible. So ideally, if you can find a song with like 400 uses and over 1 million plays, that's like the golden ticket. Yeah, that I didn't understand that until it actually started to make sense, because only 400 people have used it, but it's getting major traction. So if 20,000,
How do you even see that?
it's like I would love to draw a diagram, but when you pull up the song, if you're looking at your phone, if you pull up a song, the left-hand side, it'll say original, like the original video or the original, who posted the sound originally. And underneath that, it gives you like the little play button. It'll show how many plays it has. The higher number, the better. And then above that, underneath the song title, it'll tell you how many uses it has. The lower the usage, but the higher plays on the original video is the key.
You just taught me something.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, that.
Man, two episodes in a row, we all learned something.
Yeah.
Just turned it into Reading Rainbow of lumber. This is amazing.
I don't freaking do this to learn stuff, guys. I do it to make cheesy dad jokes.
Yeah, what the hell? And then I forget what the third thing was. I had three things. Oh,
you changed to the afternoon to appeal to more time zones, perhaps?
Yeah, that was it. That was the first.
You already said that.
I'm sorry.
The second thing was the music. I think the third thing was the meat and potatoes of the post. So I've been putting a lot of time and effort into actually the post description, like when you open up and read everything, like I've been writing in a lot of like more personal things, more heartfelt things, more things that kind of bring people together to comment and to want to relate to, kind of like a comedian. Like, who do we find to be the funniest comedian, right? People who we relate to, jokes that we relate to. So, and again, that's those three things I've just drastically changed and done together. And it's been every day for the last, I think, 3.5 weeks. And I've been seeing it like you wouldn't believe. I mean, again, all relative. So to me, it's been a huge change. So that's why I posted that. I'm like, hey, listen, like, I kind of want everyone to succeed and do good. So maybe this will work for other people too. I don't know.
I think my followers are just like unfollowing me and following you now.
I don't think that's the case. I
had to look because you were like, I've gained over 300 followers, and so I looked at mine. I'm like, yeah, I've lost 62.
Yeah, I've been really collecting scantily clad bots from foreign countries.
Oh my god!
Like,
don't you love those?
Well, I mean, empirically,
No.
I guess, but the ones that really make me happy are the ones that have like a lot of periods in their name, and then the word wood is in there somewhere, and then their whole profile is 5 photos of like stock images of people using saws.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite for the last few weeks has been people direct messaging me and asking me if I want free logos. Have you guys been getting?
If you won?
Are they asking you if they want to, if you would like a dope ass cartoon logo? Those ones are classic.
Yeah. So this is basically how it'll go. They'll follow me and then message me and to say, hey man, like I love your content, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, most of them are offering a free logo design, but some of them are like, you know, man, I want to give you a logo. And I'm like, okay, well, like, what does this cost? Oh, well, it's not a lot of money. And I'm like, dude, I'm not interested. And then they just immediately unfollow you, you know, because I don't know what they're doing or what their deal is, if they're just trying to scam you in some way. But I've just, oh my God, it's so freaking annoying. I wish I could just erase the internet of those people, but whatever.
Don't you think you would look cute as an ambassador for a slightly goth-looking jewelry company? I've been solicited for that for like 4 or 5 times now.
Yeah,
because like I think that my personality and wardrobe really screams like the brand Affliction.
Yeah,
or like something that would be made out of rivets on the back of a pair of Affliction jeans. The jewelry. Yeah. This is what I keep getting solicited for.
A couple rhinestone T-shirts and you're set, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
TJ, they don't know that you're not kidding. I mean, TJ texted me a picture of the most bedazzled jeans I've ever seen. He's like, I just got a great deal on these at Target. He sent me that last week. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, dude, a deal's a deal's a deal. That's all I'm saying. Like,
yeah, he used the hashtag shop pants win, which was real weird. But.
Look, the thing is like I wasn't gonna get them, but then I went into the fitting room and I felt like a disco ball. All of this is fake. But I felt it in my soul. And you know, it's not every day that when you look in the mirror, it looks like you've got 2 shiny globes down there behind your lower back. and that was when I knew that these heavily riveted jeans from Target were for me.
TJ, what song was playing in your head this whole time?
Well, I don't know, probably something from Creed or something that like a large audience would beat a beach ball around to, I'm guessing, like Stadium Rock. There you go.
You just had jock jams blasting in the TJ or in the Target fitting room. There's a real idea.
Yes. Jock jams and wood turning. Let's do this. Quite literally, are y'all ready for this?
I think it would make my whole month if you posted a reel wearing the jeans and spinning a bowl.
I'll do my TikTok leggings and a tactical turtleneck for you, Jessie.
Ooh, I don't know if I want the TikTok leggings. I want the disco balls on your butt.
Wait, what are the TikTok leggings? Are those like the ones that look like they're all dimply?
Very plausibly.
Yeah, and they go.
I think I'm supposed to pull them up really, 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 really high, and it gives me an apple bottom, much like my friend Akon would have described it. I think.
Yeah. You need to do.
Braden's gonna start crying.
I'm losing it.
Look, I think I saw a tear.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well,
Joe,
before we
want
get
to know that if, let's say, black walnut disappeared from the face of the earth, what's the next best wood for you to start using?
Oh wow. I love Padauk.
Does the Padauk that you get smell kind of like vanilla pudding and cinnamon?
So to me, it smells like an old man's like cherry pipe. You ever smell one of those? Yeah, it smells awesome. I love just like the richness of that wood. It's so like deep and yeah, it's really pretty. So definitely Padauk. I love zebra wood, but I have a skin allergy to it, which I found out unfortunately after I used it. Yeah, it wasn't major, but it was like basically just spots of almost looked like poison ivy breaking out all over my body.
Oh no.
Yeah. So zebra wood is beautiful. Olive wood is absolutely gorgeous. I love olive wood, but it's so expensive. So yeah, I mean, if black walnut disappeared, those would probably be my top three. I just have a lot of itchiness from the zebra wood, but what are you gonna do?
I think you forgot one.
What do you mean?
Pine.
Your favorite one.
What?
Pine.
I love pine. Yeah. Pine's my favorite. I love it. It splinters so easily.
Joe, are you just saying that because you see the pine? I love lamp.
I love lamp. Are you just seeing that because there's pine in the room with you?
I love lamp. I love
But I love
lamp.
Okay, so Joe, do you live relatively close to a woodcraft or a rockler? Do you have access to them?
No, the nearest thing I have is oh yeah, oh sorry, yes. Woodcraft is in Allentown. It's about 25 minutes away.
Okay.
Not Rockler.
Next time that you happen to poke your head in, I want you to go over to the pen blanks and see if they've got lignum vitae pen blanks. And I want you to make a couple of cuts of lignum vitae and then stick your beak down in there. It is the best smelling wood on planet Earth.
Yeah.
It smells the way it's like boat racing and masculinity and leather chairs and bound books and dusty libraries and everything all mixed together into one.
What's the price per like board foot? Do you have any idea?
Oh, if you can find it in a board foot, that's why I said grab a pen blank. It'll be $8 or less for a pen blank of lignum. But yeah, it's super hard, which is also kind of fun. They still use it in nautical settings for bearing races and things because it's so full of its own resins and oils and handles compression really well. It's a neat wood and worth a Google once everybody gets off here. Yeah, Braden, put that on your little banner down at the bottom. TJ says Google lignum vitae. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm partially convinced that you might have made all of that up. So I definitely need to research that a little bit.
Yeah, I did make up the disco butt in the Target dressing room.
I'm so disappointed.
Liar.
Jesse, you just want to borrow them. That's the thing.
I mean, would it help me get my 62 followers back? Maybe.
A really good panning shot. You borrow some of Joe's candles for dramatic side lighting. And yeah, I mean, who knows?
My candle.
Take it in the basement,
Yeah. Turn off all the lights. It's not sexy.
No, you just light candles and then let the glow from the jacuzzi in the corner really balance the color temperature of everything.
All right, listen, real talk. My neighbors have to think I'm a psychopath because the shit that they see me walking in and out of the house with, and like, why is he going in his garage with this ring light and camera again? They're like peeking through the blinds. Like, why is he putting boards in all the windows in the basement? What the hell is wrong with this guy? Oh yeah, something's up.
He's shooting for his only
hillbilly.
He's shooting for his only Dans again.
For all those moms.
Yeah.
Yeah, all your kids' friends' moms. Pour some sugar on me.
Well, boys and girls, the time is now 10:02. And I think we've shouted out our sponsors a handful of times, but Scott over at George Supply Company makes some mighty fine promotional products and super glues and abrasives. Also, if you guys didn't know this, you can get your abrasives from Scott. But the proprietary abrasives and the nature of Surf Prep sanders is such that you can get yourself a mighty fine finish as you're polishing your wood. And I think we all learned a thing or two about how to best photograph our wood tonight also. So that's a good place to be. Joe, at the end of most of these episodes, I'm not sure if you've managed to stick around to the end of one in the past, but I like to ask our guests to give us maybe a motivational quote or a thought or a reason to kick the door of our shops open and go in and make a mess, or at the very least pick up a tool. What's something that you'd like to share with the rest of the cool kids on our multitude of streaming channels and YouTubes and et ceteras?
So like a closing statement?
A statement, a thought, a reason to be awesome.
Wow. That's a good one. That's deep. Let me think now. Here's something I heard a few weeks ago. And this has rung true for anyone who's just beginning out there. Don't compare your beginning to someone's middle. So don't see other people's success and gauge your value based upon their success, because it's not right. Take it a day by day. Slow growth is great growth. You will develop community, you will develop relationships, and it's going to be worth it. So there you go.
I love that. I love that a lot.
So you're saying that your philosophy on growth in art is much like growth with, say, pine trees, that slow growth is better?
100%. They say it takes 10,000 hours to master something, right? You can't speed that up. So there have been one or two makers that I've talked to who have blown up pretty quickly and have regretted it because they haven't had a chance to develop in this community. They haven't met people, they haven't built relationships, they just got too big too quick, and they actually didn't like it. So it's not all that it's cracked up to be. That's not the story for everyone, obviously, but that was a shocker for me. And they said, actually, I prefer that I would have grown slower to meet more people and develop more connections. And that was humbling. So.
All right. So slow and steady does it. Words by Joe.
That's it, man.
I love it. All right,
Thanks,
Joe. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your hour. I know it's a little bit late for you, so we'll let you go. Anybody that's watching, make sure you go follow Joe at Two Pines Carpentry on Instagram. Joe, are you any? What's that?
And Mario, yeah, follow Mario.
Yeah. Are you on any other platforms?
Just Facebook and Instagram. I have like one video on YouTube, so there's no point of even doing that.
It's an oiling video. It's got 3 million views, but it's just one. So make sure you go do that. Also, everybody, make sure you check out the Makers for St. Jude's project going on right now. It's the last month. There's a ton of prizes that you can win, a ton of ways to get involved, and it's a great cause. And then June next year, come on back and we'll do the same thing again with Joe.
Yeah, man. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time as well, too. It was awesome to chat with everyone.
All right. Well, everybody have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Nice to meet you, Joe. Good night to all.